Hey everybody, it's your friend Adam. I am here with a video of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, better known as AOC. I found this video fairly interesting. I know a lot of people don't like AOC, but Scott Adams had mentioned something in his podcast or his Periscope a few days ago that I thought was pretty interesting, and I really can't get it out of my head. It kind of fits together with the idea of Joseph Henrich in his book, The Secret of Our Success, that we all look for models of success that we can emulate. And this goes back to our evolutionary history. If someone is successful in our environment, a lot of times we'll try to emulate what they are doing so we can capture some of their success. I have a little video running here in the background too, which is actually me drawing. I was working on a painting that I started a long time ago, so I just figured I would mix it up and throw it in just to show you guys a little bit of what I'm working on, aside from making videos. This is a painting that I did. I did a version of it that I sold in my show at La Luz de Jesus Gallery in Hollywood. And the painting was kind of rushed because it was a painting that I was working on before the show. Actually, it was pretty close to the deadline of when we were supposed to be hanging paintings for the show. And it wasn't perfect. I sold the painting, however. So you can't go back in and fix something that is already sold. Once it's sold, that's how you know the painting is finished. So, but I was trying to do a better version of it. So I have started working in digital quite recently, but I've discovered that all of my painting skills from my years and years of painting in real life are pretty applicable to what you do on the computer. So that's just a side note. But back to AOC. So Scott Adams in his podcast said something that I found fascinating. And I don't know if this was his idea. I think he actually got it from somebody else, but he fixated on it the same way I've fixated on it. That AOC seems to be a politician that is not emulating men, that she is a politician. And Scott Adams said he thought she was the first politician that was a female version of a leader, where most leaders are emulating men. Most female leaders are emulating men. He brings up Hillary Clinton with her pantsuits. And I mean, I think of Margaret Thatcher as a very masculine woman. So the idea that you would emulate a model in your environment, the statistics that Joseph Henrich cites is that we look for models that are the same race as us, the same gender as us, and the same, around the same age or a bit older than us, so that we can focus on what they're doing, model what they're doing, and capture the success that they have gained. Well, obviously AOC is a very successful congresswoman now. Well, a lot of people argue that she's not very, very successful, but the fact that she was a waitress a year ago and she's now a congresswoman says she's doing something right. But if a woman wanted to become successful and there are no female congresswoman for her to emulate, then the strategy would often be to emulate a man. So you get these politicians that are really just trying to act like men. And the interesting thing is that, and Scott Adams pointed this out in his Periscope, and it's the thing that I keep looking at AOC on. She does seem very feminine here. And I'll play the video for you so you can take a look and meditate on this. You can let me know in the comments below if this is totally off base. But so females who wanted to become leaders had to emulate men in the past. And there's something missing there because you're not always able to compete in the male competence hierarchy in the same way that men are. And they talked about this ad nauseum in the Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump election. But it's interesting now that you have female leaders, that other females that want to become leaders can emulate as this is how you be a successful female leader. Also, just the fact that females are being females and leaders is something to take note of, because before this there weren't any models of females being leaders, where before you just had females imitating males and being successful or not successful. And I wonder if this is kind of a game changer for more females getting into positions of power, because let's face it, that females acting like males just isn't necessarily going. It's a hit or miss strategy. It's definitely a hit or miss strategy. I think it's interesting that strategy may be sunsetting with the rise of female politicians that are politicians as females. So I'll play the clip here. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I think it's a fascinating idea. And Scott Adams said it in his Periscope a few days ago, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it, because I was pairing that idea with what Joseph Henrich has said in his book, The Secret of Our Success, that we look for, as an evolutionary heuristic, we look for successful people in our environment that are the same gender as us, a bit older than us, and the same race as us, and we try to emulate what they're doing in the hopes of capturing whatever it is, whatever success that they've achieved through their behavior, emulating their behavior.
People are more concerned about helping oil companies than helping their own families? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is about our lives. This is about American lives, and it should not be partisan. 1 year ago, I was waitressing in a taco shop in downtown Manhattan.
See, even those head gestures, that just screams female to me. It does. It does. I can't imagine a male being able to do that kind of head gesturing without somebody catching it.
I just got health insurance for the first time a month ago. This is not an elitist issue. This is a quality of life issue. You want to tell people that their concern and their desire for clean air and clean water is elitist? Tell that to the kids in the South Bronx, which are suffering from the highest rates of childhood asthma in the country. Tell that to the families in Flint, whose kids have their blood is ascending in
I just noticed she's got the little Ms. on her placard there too, which is just a nod to the feminists.
Lead levels, their brains are damaged for the rest of their life.
Should I have presented this with a trigger warning? I feel like this is triggering some of my audiences. As Scott Adams has said, I find AOC fascinating as just in that she is kind of breaking the mold here. I think that is fascinating. I honestly do. I don't necessarily agree with her policies. I'm actually leaning towards Andrew Yang. I'm super interested in what Andrew Yang has to say. I know that a lot of people don't like Andrew Yang because of the universal basic income, and that's what interests me most about Andrew Yang is I want to see what people think about the universal basic income and whether or not it'll work. Andrew Yang is trying to solve a problem that nobody's talking about. And when people shoot down the UBI, I don't see them presenting any answers for the problem that Andrew Yang is trying to solve. And that's just that, driverless cars are going to leave a lot of people unemployed, and we need to deal with that. So back to AOC.
Lives, call them elitist. You're telling them that those kids are trying to get on a plane to Davos? People are dying. This is serious. This should not be a partisan issue. This is about our constituents and all of our lives. Iowa, Nebraska, broad swaths of the Midwest are drowning right now, underwater. Farms, towns that will never be recovered and never come back. Science should not be partisan. We are facing a national crisis. And if we do not ascend to that...
Yeah, that's where I disagree with her quite a bit. I don't think that the climate change science is as clear as a lot of people are saying. The Boren Lombard did a movie called Cool It, and I recommend that movie to people all the time. He actually did a talk with Jordan Peterson about climate change. So I think there is some insular political things going on with climate change. I think, unfortunately, the scientific aspect of climate change has been horribly politicized, which when things get politicized and people start using them to gain political power, it's very hard to get to what the actual truth is, just because a certain outcome is so beneficial to people that it's impossible for them to notice what the actual truth is. AOC is in that boat. AOC is gaining political power off of climate change. And if a scientific study came out tomorrow that said, oh yeah, we totally overestimated things, climate change is not really a big deal, her whole political future is tied up in climate change. So she's going to be the last one to read that study with any kind of objective eye.
That crisis, if we do not ascend to the levels in which we were threatened at the Great Depression, when we were threatened in World War II, if we do not ascend to those levels, if we tell the American public that we are more willing to invest and bail out big banks than we are willing to invest in our farmers and our urban families, then I don't know what we're here doing. I don't know what we're here doing.
So there you have it. I just think that it's super interesting. This idea of models has really captured my attention because it's so fascinating, and it's really a good heuristic to look at things, because so much of the culture war seems to be wrapped around this very basic idea. The idea that they want to abolish, Westerns, they want to change the syllabuses in Western civilization classes because it's all, they say, old, dead white men. And I feel like they don't want to use those models because they don't know that they'll have success with those models. Most of this is functioning unconsciously, obviously, but if you watch my channel or you follow me at all, you know that a lot of the evolutionary psychology stuff is unconscious. So, but once you start thinking about it consciously, I think it really has the power to help your lives in a lot of really tangible ways. So I'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.